senior automatically going to play over the walk-on guy. But there are instances where guys do have to redshirt, whether they're hurt or they're not, physically ready to play a full season or play a season. We'll give them a year. Usually a redshirt year happens your freshman year. Coming out of high school, you might not be ready to perform, so we'll give you a year to mature, get a year in the weight room, year in the program, and get ready for your redshirt freshman year. Basically, a redshirt year is you got basically 5 years to play 4. So you can use the red. So if you're a junior and you haven't used your redshirt year, and you have to say you get hurt, get Tommy John or something, you can use that year as a redshirt year, and it doesn't count. So you got 5 years to play 4, and that's what redshirting is. So a lot of times guys will come in as freshmen, and if they're not ready, we'll kind of sit them down and say we're going to use it as a redshirt this year. So hopefully by their redshirt senior year, when they're 23 years old, they'll be more effective than when they're an 18-year-old kid. So.
Division III level, you're not allowed to ask players to redshirt. That rule has changed over the past couple of years. So we can't go as coaches and say we'd like you to redshirt this year. We're just not sure you're going to be able to hold up. We'd like you to get a little bit stronger. And it's a little bit tougher for us to then go ahead and get medical red shirts as well. It's a long process to go through. We have to call the NCAA and we have to go through our athletic department, get it cleared through them. We have to draw up papers and stuff like that. And it still may get shot down by the NCAA. There was a kid when I was playing, needed Tommy John as a pitcher and did not get the medical red shirt because he had made every single practice going up into a certain point. So it's a little bit different at the Division III level, and it becomes a little bit more difficult.
With rosters between 28 and 35, how do you get the less experienced younger guys named?
The priority, the way we prioritize is weekend conference play isn't a time to experiment. Those midweek games that we're playing non-conference that are closed and stuff like that, we'll fiddle around with the roster some, get guys experience, allow them to earn their way into it. At LaSalle, we're not getting a bid at the NCAA unless we win the conference. So that's our time, a couple games during the week to play with younger guys, things like that. We want to win every game, don't get me wrong. But if there's an opportunity to get guys at bats or start a different second baseman or center fielder or something like that, we're going to do it Tuesday, Wednesday. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's a decent chance you might not see the field.
I think we probably follow those same general rules. Obviously, games that get out of hand one way or the other is a good time to get younger guys in. In college, at probably every school at every level, we're going to inter squad a lot in the fall, and we do the best we can to make those as game-like as possible. We kind of take advantage of the fact that it's a spring sport, so our freshmen, we have a whole fall to see them against college pitchers that are going to be in theory similar to the level they're going to be playing and how they handle themselves. We'll even bring in umpires once in a while when we inter squad just to make it more game-like. So a lot of the initial experience comes from inter squads. That's probably true a lot of schools.
Going back to that redshirt question, if you go in there, you take 4 to go to 5, but what if you offer the 5th year? Then go towards your master's then?
You can, or you can plan accordingly and schedule your schedules so you can graduate in 5 years.
You then receive a scholarship for 5 years.
Yeah.
That's school to school, I think. They've instituted multi-year grants, so that complicates it a little bit as far as the 5th year, but I think it's a school to school thing. It's a situation. Depends on what your situation is.
Do you see many guys that you recruit as incoming freshmen that you would redshirt as a freshman, or normally is it you're in a year and something happens?
I think that we recruit every player to actually come into the play. So any guys that we bring in, we're expecting them to be
Right away.
action right off the get-go. We expect them to try to play. There's guys we don't like to work with projects.
Because like in football, all you hear is he's a true freshman. I mean, they make sure they say that, or he's a redshirt freshman.
Sure.
But they'll go out and get.
Sure,
But in baseball, you want
I think
right
it's
away.
different school to school, obviously, but we definitely want kids to play. That's what we recruit. We recruit a lot of talented players, and we expect them to play right away.
All right.
Red
red shirts happen, you know, like the other coaches said during the fall, kind of noticed they might be a little bit behind.
Okay.
So we give them a year to develop.
But they still could be in the
Football's different because that's a fall sport, and guys are coming in, that's a more physically demanding sport than baseball, so guys who play football as a true freshman, they're right out of high school. At least baseball, you have a whole fall and a whole winter to, you know, mature and get used to the college game, and, you know,
Right.
what they were saying with the inter squads, you know, that's a good time to tell if they're ready or not.
It's also a good way to, go ahead. It's a good way to, you know, have some guys coming in 18 years old, maybe haven't developed physically yet. You know, gives guys another year to put some muscle on, maybe get in a weight program for the first time in your lives, and start to build that muscle, and it gets you ready for that next year where you're ready for your college baseball player.
At our place, I can only bring in like 7 or 8 guys a year, so I'm not doing my job as a recruiter if I'm bringing in a kid that I'm saying he's not going to be ready till he's a junior. We won't be very good if that happens. I mean, I know most of the Division I schools here can bring in more guys than I can per class, so the guys that we bring in, they need to be able to compete with what we have on the field right now. And it's a selling point for us, and I use it in recruiting. And I'll tell guys, hey, I'm bringing in 7 dudes this class. I'm bringing in 3 pitchers. You can be one of 3 guys on the hill as opposed to one of how many other guys on the hill at X, Y, and Z schools. And it's a selling point for us, but to answer your question, I mean, we need guys to compete and be ready right now, just based on the numbers that I can bring in.
Is that more of a characteristic like an Ivy League school, or is that just more than?
Yeah, at the Ivies, we get like a certain number of admission spots per year. And for us, it's like 7, 8, maybe 9 one year, maybe 6 the other year. It's about 7 or 8. So, and that means I mean, none of the kids on my roster right now, on our roster, could have gotten into Columbia on their own. All right, so that admission spot for us is like our scholarship dollars. We're getting you into a school that you wouldn't otherwise have been able to get into, in other words. So, did that answer your question?
How often do you get to see kids during high school, or is it mainly just summer and fall ball?
We get out, I mean, it's happening, it's pretty crazy now. I mean, I know some guys at some schools, they don't even go to their midweek games, all right? Sometimes you're gonna miss I'll miss a practice. I missed our game with Fordham this year, our fall game with Fordham, to go down to Florida to recruit. But, I mean, we get out in high school season. I know Mondays are off day, and Mondays all these guys off days, so it's off day for our team. It's not off day for me. I'm going to a high school game on Monday. And occasionally I'll miss a practice during the week to go out in April. But it's happening more and more. I feel like we're, you know, getting out a lot during our own seasons, which can be tough. I mean, you want to be with your team, but you also got to be watching high school guys play. So for us, it's summer heavy for sure, but we get out in the spring.
How much do you guys rely on high school coaches giving you information for the travel coaches on the weekend?
I'd say for us, we rely on those guys as much or more about character than we do ability. Our job is, part of our job as coaches is to go out there and recruit and see what a kid can do athletically. But I'm not coaching that kid, so I don't know him as a kid. That's a huge resource for us, because if your high school coach won't give you the endorsement of a hard worker or a kid who's a good team guy, that tells me all I need to know personally. So we'll use them as much for that as for asking, hey, do you have any guys for us?
I'm going to talk to as many people as I possibly can about a kid, because the truth lies in a combination of a bunch of different eyes. If I'm talking to the AAU coach, I got to take the idea that you paid to be on that team with him, and he has an incentive to play somebody in college. If I'm talking to the high school coach, I got to take into my mind, how many Division I players has he seen over the last 5 or 6 years on his roster? Is it just because he's the best players that make him a Division I level player? I'm going to talk to coaches in the league. I'm going to talk to scouts that might be in the area. I'm going to try and talk to as many guys as possible to formulate an opinion that I think is true about the player, and jives with what I saw. If I'm relying on one guy's opinion, I'm relying on the wrong one, no matter whose it is.
Opinions?
Some guys fall into the issue of playing one sport in high school. Is there a preference as to whether you guys recruit single sport athletes?
I like multi-sport guys, to be honest. I like guys who play hoops. I like guys who play football. I like guys who are competitive year-round. There's different physical skill sets you learn in playing other sports that'll translate well to playing baseball. So I view it definitely as a positive if guys are playing other sports year-round in high school.
Football's a scary one only because of the injury concern a little bit, but like, personally, I love basketball players, guys who can go out and move athletically, do that type of stuff. Baseball, you hide your athleticism a lot because it's not so many plays where you make those types of movements. Basketball, it's every play, so it's just a little guys in all league that kind of says something about it.
Even outside of the athletic portion of it, just to give yourselves a break mentally. You know, all you guys, you're playing, you play your high school seasons, and then you go and you're playing all summer, and then you're doing stuff in fall and November. You know, it's not a bad thing to get your mind away from the game a little bit and give yourself a little bit of that break, and that's where other sports come in great. You know, when I was in high school, I played baseball for 3/4 of the year, and that 1/4 of the year I played basketball, and it was good. I could think about something else for a little bit, and then once springtime rolled around, you know, get ready to go and get ready to play baseball again.
I'll jump in on that too, because I think that's a tough one probably, or tough decisions for parents and players, but I think we all want to recruit athletes, and generally multi-sport baseball players, you know, kind of say they like to compete, they can do a variety of different things athletically, and that's a positive thing. From a recruiting standpoint, we will absolutely take that, or add that into the equation. Say it's a pitcher who's a 3-sport athlete, and he throws 83 miles an hour, but he's a football player and a basketball player too. Well, maybe he's going to project more because he hasn't focused on one sport as much as he could have, or as he will when he gets to college. On the flip side, if you're playing other sports, you are not going to be able to play in front of us as often. If you're playing football this fall and your team's still playing, would you have been able to make it today? Maybe some of you guys are football players, but there's certainly conflicts with other sports. And yeah, that maybe this was your one chance to play in front of a college here. And I think there's an element of guys that are multiple sport athletes that fly under the radar a little bit, and maybe things just happen a little bit later for them. So there's a give and take to it, but as a whole, I think we're all trying to recruit the best athletes we can find, and they tend to play multiple sports sometimes.
How important are these the winter camps that you guys put on for these kids to attend? So let's say, for example, you like a couple kids here, you send them an email, or a kid reaches out to you. How important is it for these kids to go to those things and check out the campus and see what the whole atmosphere is like?
Just with the schools camps, the most important thing the two most important things is you get to come on campus and you can take a tour yourself. You can walk around campus and see everything that's on there. Another thing is that's the only time you'll ever get a chance to play in front of all 4 of the coaches at the same time. The whole staff will be there most of the time, should be at least, and you get to play in front of all 4 of them. And then if I seen a kid at a camp like this and I invite you to our prospect camp, I have told my head coach, I've told our recruiting coordinator about you, and now that's their opportunity to see you in our setting. We can have you take as many swings as we want to see you. We can work with you. We can try and change things, see if you're coachable. So I think the prospect camps or the schools camps are huge, and I think everyone feels the same way about that.
If you're going to do one of those camps, especially as a pitcher, make sure you're physically ready to go. If you came to this camp today and you haven't thrown off a mound or thrown for the last 5 weeks, it's not really putting you in the best position to succeed. So when you do go to those camps, make sure you put your best foot forward.
Yeah, for us, it's an opportunity to see the players that, you know, we want to see. So again, if you guys, you know, like what you hear from any of us up here, you're really interested in coming to one of our schools, the it's really a good opportunity for you to go on to our athletic website to check out when things are going on. Like at TCNJ, we do a 3-week fall camp, and then we do a winter camp in February. And, you know, like these guys are saying, it's an opportunity to work with the staff. For us, it's an opportunity to see you guys a little bit longer. And again, we can get you swings and stuff like that. But for you, it's an opportunity to then go ahead and explore the campus. It's an opportunity to see what each coach is about. We break it down by position. We break it into pitchers, and then we'll separate with the hitters, and you go with the hitting coach and stuff like that. And you're getting an in-depth look at our teaching philosophies and, you know, what we're all about. And if you thought you were interested at first, maybe you like the message we're sending. Maybe you don't, and maybe that makes the decision a little bit easier for you. So it's a give and take. It works extremely well for us, but it can also be a huge indicator for you as to whether or not that school should be on your list and whether it's a realistic choice.
If you offer, Division II or III school offers your kid money to play baseball, can you play another sport too? Or is it strictly you're playing baseball, that's it?
I mean, that would really depend on the school. We don't have any two-sport guys on our roster right now. I don't even think the issue's even ever come up really recently.
Are you guys 2 or 1AA?
We're two. We're two. There's no 1AA in baseball. It's just 1, 2, and 3. But most schools, I mean, wouldn't have an issue with it. It really depends on the head coach, to tell you the truth. And then it also depends on the head coach of the other sport that the guy's going to play. When I played at Bloomsburg, we had a guy that played football and baseball, and the football guy actually really wasn't a big fan of it. But they kind of changed that, and then he ended up just playing football. So it really depends on the school you're at.
Florida State has their starting quarterback, James Winston. He's the right fielder, too. Plays baseball and football, and they work together pretty well.
Coaches, would you guys put more stock in the high school season or the summer season? Where would you guys end up looking? Well, would you tend to go more summer game or high school game? As a coach, what do you guys?
Coaches, we want competitors, so wherever you're playing, I think you want to be able to compete. So we look at both. If you're playing on a travel team, I think like your high school team, we want to see you compete either way. We want athletes that are going to compete every day for us, win ball games.
Sometimes it's a little easier to get out to the summer games. You know, some coaches are able to send an assistant, or sometimes, you know, like some of these guys said, you're missing a weekday game during your season to go see the high school games. Sometimes it's easier to go out in the summer and see some of that stuff take place. But, you know, we just want to see you in a competitive environment. It doesn't matter where you're playing, whether it's the fall, you know, the spring, or the summer. We just want to see you in a competitive environment and really getting after it.
I'll say this, I get this a lot. I'll get summer stats a lot, and the high school stats won't be there, and I'll be like, wait a minute, where are your high school stats? You know, a lot of times it's because you didn't really play that much in high school. You know, and that's all right, you can say that, all right, but the high school stats matter, because everybody, if you're going to pay a certain amount to play for a summer organization, you're going to get some at-bats, right? You pay to be there, you're going to get some playing time, you're going to have stats, so summer stats in the absence of high school stats is a red flag for me. Like, where are your high school stats? Aren't you a guy on your high school team? You know, that matters. So include both.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. If you could, guys who are leaving, make sure you shake all these coaches' hands. Tell them thank you for the time, all right? Let's give them a round.